it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, October 25th. So welcome to the new moon partial solar eclipse in Scorpio. We have the moon, of course, just yesterday in Libran energy go void, of course, at 8:36 p.m. And we locked into Scorpio energy at 3:20 a.m. early this morning. So here's the thing. Even if this wasn't a new moon, even if this wasn't an eclipse, the transition from Libran energy to Scorpio energy is always an intense one. We are moving out of the light and airy, fluffy version of our mental plane in Libran energy, where everything is happy-go-lucky, where we just want love and peace and harmony and balance. And then we dive into the emotional depths of the darkness of our shadow realm and Scorpio energy. This is where we do shadow work. This is where we have to examine and unearth the darkest parts of us to see where they're actually blocking us from moving forward in life. This is where a great transformation takes place. First, within the psyche, second, within the heart space, and then third, we get to engage our physical body to take actions and make moves in our physical realm to align our external realm with what it is that we've already arrived at in our inner realm. So Scorpio energy is never fun. It is very, very deep, very dark, very intense, very passionate. We have to realize what it is that we actually want, what we actually need, what we actually desire in life, and then examine why it is, because of our deepest, darkest fears, that we're afraid to go after said desires. It is a very transformative time. It is the alchemist of the zodiac, where we get to kind of make magic within ourselves and actually see elements of ourselves forever be changed. It is 100% necessary that we change, that we transform in order for our soul to evolve and reach our fullest potential. Not only that, it's a new moon. Not only that, it's a partial solar eclipse. This is a new moon jacked up on steroids. We have the unexpected element of the eclipse energy. We have the wild card energy popping off from the universe to try and sort us out and get us on the right path that we failed to get on ourselves. If you haven't downloaded your moon guide, I'm going to recommend you do that. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast that I put out for the new moon partial solar eclipse in Scorpio, I'm going to recommend you do that too. You need to do the work. You need to be accountable and responsible for your own healing journey, for your own soul's evolution. There are resources out there to help you, to assist you, to guide you through this very difficult process, and it's up to you to take advantage of that particular resource. So we got a lot going on. You will know by looking through the moon guide what we're dealing with as far as some very special astrological aspects and the elemental energy profile. What we're going to talk about here today are the different aspects taking place throughout the day that build up towards this new moon energy. There are 8 different aspects taking place, and 7 of them involve the moon. So we have the moon in Libran energy, but void, of course, which means that it's kind of shaky, it's kind of unstable, making an aspect with Neptune, a positive one, before we actually lock into the Scorpio energy. The moon and Neptune interacting with each other, especially while most of us are in a sleep state and Neptune ruling over dreams, you best believe that we are in for a treat. Some very cryptic messages are coming at us through our unconscious selves, through our dream state. This is a great time for us to, A, really pay attention to our dream state, but also really pay attention to our awaking dreams as well. What do we float off into imaginary land about? What is it that we're fantasizing about? What is it that we're focused on? What it is that we want to create? This is, again, a new moon energy, which means that this is a time for manifestation, even though eclipse energy kind of makes it a little bit wild to try and manifest. But nonetheless, we are kind of getting a huge blast from our higher selves, from our intuition, and we are able to kind of process the information that we're receiving from our higher selves and our intuition in the lower level intellect. in our heart space because of the moon being in Libra, kind of grounding us out, bringing it in, processing it, adding some logical, practical intellect to it, and coming up with a plan and strategy on what it is that we're actually going to do to bring some of these ideas and dreams to life. The moon locks into Scorpio energy at 3:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have our first aspect with the moon at 3:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a very awkward interaction with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is about growth and expansion. He magnifies whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling, and you best believe that we're thinking and feeling a lot of everything on opposite sides of the spectrum. Scorpio energy is very intense, very extreme. We can go from 0 to 60 back to 0 in less than 60 seconds and experience every emotion and every thought in between. It is extreme for a reason. We have to think and feel at both and opposite sides of the spectrum in order for us to merge. That's what Scorpio energy is all about, merging the good with the bad, up with the down, the dark with the light, in order for us to have a state of wholeness. So the way that the moon and Jupiter are interacting right now, it is likely that there is going to be a situation in our lives pop off here today that is just going to put us over the edge. We do have to keep our, I'm going to say, egoic automatic reactions and responses in check. We always want to kind of take a pause, take a time out, act from the higher self, see where the spiritual lesson is coming at us hot and heavy. But the moon interacting with Jupiter in this way is likely going to illuminate where I'm pretty much effing done with this situation, with this person, with this timeline, with the storyline, with this experience. Or B, where it is that I want so much more for myself that I am just so discontent with anything that I got going on here. Now, keep in mind, Jupiter magnifies, turns the volume all the way up, which means that because we are in a state of extreme thought and emotions, things can feel pretty freaking overwhelming. We can also be pretty freaking dramatic. We can also feel like the weight of the world is about to crush us, even though nothing really is happening and justifying us to feel that way. That's okay. We're going to ride this wave because just as fast as the wave comes in and crashes upon us, it's going to retreat back in the ocean and the sun is going to dry us off and everything is going to be peachy keen again just for the wave to come crashing in again. This is Scorpio season. This is a new moon. This is an eclipse energy. This is what you can expect. Now, 6:49 a.m. is when the moon and the sun come together, giving us our new moon partial solar eclipse in Scorpio. If you downloaded the moon guide, if you listened to the astro forecast, you would know that Venus is also part of this little duo, making it a trio. Venus is only 40 minutes away from the sun and the moon that are coming together at an exact 2° in Scorpio energy. This is a fresh, clean slate. This is a brand new cycle. What do we know about it? Well, there's obviously been a whole lot of death, damage, destruction, endings, closures take place in order for this new cycle to actually have us in a state of initiating and beginning something new. The sun and the moon coming together at 6:49 is what we go through in the moon guide. All of the different aspects, the snapshot of the sky, the snapshot of the cosmos at 6:49 a.m. There are multiple aspects, multiple planets at play, giving us a lot of different opportunity to have a lot of emotions and thoughts and energies triggered in order to push us into our soul's path, mission, purpose, and soul's evolution. Download the moon guide, listen to the forecast. At 8:05 a.m., the moon is actually going to come up to, sit next to, and conjunct Venus, who, like I said, is only 40 minutes away from the sun and moon conjunction that gives us our new moon. So when the moon and Venus get together, this is like heart chakra overload. This is like emotional capacity reach. This is like the heart chakra is being peeled back layer by layer in order for us to get rid of this old armor that we have knowingly or unknowingly put on to protect us from the emotional hurt and pain and suffering from the elements in our lives that we don't have control over. Now, we have to get raw, we have to get real, we have to get vulnerable in order for us to actually discern what it is that our heart truly wants, what it is that our heart actually truly desires. And this can put us in a very emotional state of being. And with that being said, there's likely going to be a lot of confusion on what it is that we want to do with ourselves, the wants, needs, and desires that we need to fulfill within ourselves, our self-worth, our self-confidence, and what it is that we want, need, and desire from the people in our lives, from the relationships that we deem to be of worth and value. At the same time that we're receiving this emotional chaos and confusion, we're setting ourselves up for a whole lot of clarity. We get to weed out what it is that is making us unhappy, discontent, unsatisfied, and in its place, come up with an alternative of what would be better. That is the clarity that we're looking for, is coming up with a plan, coming up with an alternative, coming up with a filler that makes us feel really good in our heart space compared to some of the elements that are just breaking our heart in two. We have Mercury making a very, very interesting interaction with Neptune. Now, this can go a couple of different ways, and let me break it down for you. Mercury, who is in Libran energy, we have the ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, ruler of communication in Libran energy, the most people-pleasing, indecisive, on the fence energy that we can get. We want the scales to be balanced, but we're going from the pros to the cons, from the highs to the lows, from the ups to the downs. We're trying to find a middle ground, a compromise, a negotiation of our thoughts, of our ideas. And when we interact with Neptune, who is retrograde in Pisces in its place of power, this is our intuition, this is our dreams, this is our higher self, this is soul contracts, this is vision. And what we get, because this is an awkward situation, or awkward interaction, I should say, is one of a couple of things. First of all, we could be so stuck in our egoic intellect that we can't even hear our higher self, can't feel our intuition, can't grasp a dream or a vision of what it is that we would want to create, because we're so tunnel vision, depending on our physical realms to dictate for us what is actually possible. That could happen. Or we could be so in alignment, so overwhelmed with our psychic abilities, with our higher self, with our intuition, with our dreams, with our vision, that we lack the logic and practicality to actually be able to bring it to life. And there's this third alternative as well, where, you know what, if we can hit the vibe right, we are able to get a lot of aha moments, a lot of downloads, a lot of visions, a lot of inspirations coming into the crown. And we're actually able to focus on that information, bring it into the mental plane, really kind of add some logical, practical perspective to it, really debate the pros and cons to it, and actually be able to articulate within us what it is that we have to do in order to make this information, these ideas, this vision actually come to life. So it's like a three situation scenario, and there are three different options to how that energy can manifest. And because we are in the energy that we're in, it is also very possible that we experience all three. Again, we're in a very rapid, moving, accelerated, I'm going to say emotional transformation going on. Our inner realms are peaked. We are having to analyze, having to process a lot of information very fast because we're in Scorpio season, because we are now very much in touch with the senses that we have outside of our five physical senses. Again, psychic abilities, intuition, dreams, creativity, all of these, meta abilities outside of the physical realm of our senses. We're bringing in a lot of information that we don't know where it's coming from. But if we can follow that thought and bring it into our awareness, our consciousness, and actually add a little bit of wisdom, knowledge, resource to it, we can actually bring some of these visions and abilities to life. So it can be a very exciting time too, but you can expect to feel very overwhelmed in your mental plane and very overwhelmed in your, I'm going to say heart chakra, but realistically, it's just your physical body. Again, listen to the Ascension forecast for the week if you haven't already. The moon goes ahead and makes a beautiful freaking aspect with Jupiter. Now, you may remember we started off the moon moving into Scorpio earlier in the day with an awkward situation with Jupiter. This is a more positive one. This is where we are gaining a lot of clarity, where we are seeing the big picture, where we are using our deeper, darker emotions and thoughts and memories, our pain, our trauma and suffering to inspire a brand new vision, to inspire a brand new belief in ourselves. This is where confidence and optimism gets renewed. This is where the volume is all the way up, where the magnifying glass is zooming all the way in on our current state of thought and feeling. And right now, we are feeling like we are ready to boss up, like we're ready to take on the world, like there is nothing that can stop us or block us from going after what it is that we want. And I'm going to encourage you to ride that wave, because that wave is very short. The moon goes ahead and interacts with Neptune in a not so nice way. And this is where we lose that focus, where we lose our connection to our higher self, where we become so overwhelmed with everything going on in our inner realm and everything that's going on outside of us that we just want to shrivel up into a ball and just kind of ride this storm out. Again, we're in Scorpio season. Again, we're in the new moon energy. Again, it's an eclipse energy. We're going from one extreme to the other. Just when we're flying high, suddenly we forget to use our wings and we come crashing to the ground. Just when we're all broken and busted on the ground and resulted to a pile of ash, we resurrect ourselves like the phoenix that Scorpio energy is, and we rise again in a much bigger, brighter kind of way with a different perspective, a different understanding, a different objective in order for us to pursue. The moon is going to make a very awkward interaction with Mars, one of its rulers. And this is where we kind of get angered. We get frustrated, we get agitated because we're not thinking clearly. We can't figure things out. We have more questions than we have answers. We're still a little bit confused, a little bit undecided. Now we're not able to go as fast as we would like. Now we're not really kind of standing in the empowerment energy that felt really good earlier on. And now we're kind of starting to get ticked off at pretty much anything that can agitate us in a way that we can blame for our energy, for our emotions, for our thoughts. Now, you know, we've all had this. We all do this where it's literally like we're in a mood. We don't know why we're in the mood because nothing really happened. And suddenly, you know, Aunt Betty over there at the table, just breathing, reading her, book. Suddenly that is the most aggravating thing in the world. Like, why is Aunt Betty breathing right now? Okay, because I'm about to cut her off big time if she keeps breathing like that. We've all been there. This is the state of agitation that we can expect to kind of wrap up the day in, because again, we have to go with the highs and then we have to go to the lows. And we experience everything in between, and it does not feel good. And everything is amplified and everything is cray-cray. And there's this element of chaos. I'm going to ask you to be patient with the ride. I'm going to ask you to be kind and gentle with yourself, with the inner process. I want you to be very mindful of the dialogue that you allow to loop in your head. I want you to be very kind with the words that you speak to yourself. I want you to ask yourself when you're being harsh on yourself, if you would speak to a child that way. The answer is no. So you better fix yourself, because your inner child is very much listening, very much hurt, very much wounded on the way that you are treating it. We have to identify where it is that our funk is creating more damage and destruction within us than actually needs to be. Does it feel good to be frustrated and agitated? And, does it feel good like you want to take your Aunt Betty out just for merely breathing? No, doesn't feel good. Can we do anything about it? Well, we can try to ground. We can try to go connect with nature. We can try to raise our vibration and frequency up by listening to, vibrational music or whatever the case may be. Do something that you love to try and get yourself out of the funk. But the inner realm tension is very, very real. The agitation, the frustration is very, very real. We do have to just kind of be patient as this new moon eclipse energy kind of dissipates. We will be moving into a very, very busy day here on Wednesday. There are a lot of moments of clarity, moments of very strong intuition and inspiration coming at us. But as far as today goes, we really just have to be comfortable in riding the wave and allowing those waves to totally knock us off our surfboard.